Welcome to episode 3 of A Wild Podcast Has Appeared, the official Pokemon podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Jim Viscardi. With me here in the room is Megan Peters, and on the phone is Christian Hoffer. Guys, we've made it to 3 episodes.
We're here.
Well, Megan wasn't here last week.
I wasn't here.
No.
Where was I? I was at the beach.
Oh, well, all right. Rub it in, Megan.
I was looking for Vaporeon. Sad to say, I found no Vaporeons.
A Wild Podcast Has Appeared is your weekly Pokemon podcast from us at Comicbook.com that you can find everywhere podcasts can be found. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And this week is a big week because this week we can go full-on spoiler heavy on Detective Pikachu. We've all seen it. We all love it. And there's, we've got a bunch of Pokemon news that we will go through. And we'll have a fun Pokemon fact of the week from Christian. Last week, I told everyone about that fact. Basically, anyone who would listen to me about it, I told. Did you get a chance to see what it was?
No, I didn't get to see what it was, but I did tell everyone when I saw Detective Pikachu again about Magikarp and Gyarados. The first fact we used, it got me some brownie points with all my boyfriend's friends.
So if you want to be totally grossed out with a totally awesome Pokemon fact, go back and listen to episode 2.
I will.
All right. So first things first, let's talk about box office for Detective Pikachu, since that's where it's going to be the big thing on everyone's mind. Christian, where did it end up at?
$54.3 million domestically and $166.7 million worldwide.
So much lower than any of us would have wanted, hoped, or thought.
Very much so.
But it still was successful. I mean, we're kind of used to covering these big blockbuster Marvel movies. And, just about everyone said that, Detective Pikachu was a box office hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, very much. I feel like it's a good point that he's making, that we're skewed to think we're covering these franchises that have been around for 20 plus years in theaters. And while there's been 20 plus Pokemon movies in the anime realm for live action, this is really the first thing. And a lot of people are still kind of skeptical given Hollywood's reputation with anime and video games. So for where it's at now, like I saw it again on Monday, and like it was pretty packed theater.
The thing that's probably surprised me the most was its A- cinema score. A's are hard to come by when it comes to cinema scores. And when the Rotten Tomatoes score was at 68, I was like, oh, maybe it'll get like a B plus. But it's a great sign for the potential for this franchise. I know a lot of people are throwing around the term it's broken the video game movie curse. Which I guess is a fair thing to throw around. I don't know. It's not bad. I think we're so used to having Stockholm Syndrome with most of these video game franchise movies just being so terrible. This is not that. But I honestly thought it would have had a bit more success.
I also felt it would have a bit more success. I think in terms of video games, it probably also, I don't know if it hurt or helped that the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer came out, because I feel like people were like, oh no, this just reminded us of how bad video game adaptations can be. But I think Pokemon definitely, word of mouth has started to help, especially for its weekday box office.
Right.
Like its first weekday box office did better than the first weekday box office of How to Train Your Dragon 3 did, or Shazam. So I think that word of mouth is getting there. And in terms of like anime live action adaptation, I think it's still the highest like opening one that's happened yet with Speed Racer. But this one's like high up there on that chart as well. So I think Hollywood is moving in that right direction. I think just casual fans were so confused that it was like, why is it like Who Framed Roger Rabbit plus Sherlock Holmes and a Pikachu? I think that's still a little confusing, but for diehard fans, it's done pretty well.
Did you guys get your Pokemon cards?
I did.
You did? Did you have to fight for them?
No, actually, I got 4 or 5 sets because I probably...
Oh, jeez.
Man.
Lucky you. I had to fight for the one just one to give to my kid.
Yeah, I didn't get one. They were out.
So I tried to book, it was, I guess Wednesday. I thought, oh, maybe I can get tickets for Saturday. And I checked Friday, I checked all day Saturday, and I had to get to like a later showing on Sunday to actually get tickets for the family. But when I got there, I was like, "Hey, do you have any cards left?" And the teenager at the ticket counter was like, no. And I was like, oh, that's what I get for coming on Sunday in the afternoon. And then I walk back out, and the dude's got a whole box of them. And I'm like, hey, I thought you ran out. And he goes, oh, yeah, they found this box. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's like, can I get one for that one? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, can I get one? And he's like, sorry, one per kid. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I wanted to just straight up punch him.
That is like a for real complaint.
I mean, I get it. It's free Pokemon cards, and so I shouldn't necessarily feel that viscerally violent towards someone for that. But at the same time,
My mom got one of the Ancient Mew cards when she saw that original Pokemon movie with me. She didn't want it. She in fact tried to give it back to them, but she still got it. Oh man, I'd file a complaint.
I think I'm going to.
I think you have to.
I think that was a nice transition that you worked in there with Ancient Mew for what we want to talk about next. Ancient Mew is coming back. Christian, tell us more.
It's coming back in Japan as part of this upcoming Mewtwo Strikes Back remake. They are going to re-release the Ancient Mew card. We all had them as kids.
I
my
never
parents
did, and I don't know how I missed out on it.
I had
Because
like 7.
I had almost. I honestly really do, because I had like almost every other one except that one for some reason. And I have no idea how I missed it.
My parents recently moved out of my childhood house, and they're like, "Yeah, we have like 15 of these Ancient Mew cards."
Yeah, I have like an absurd amount.
I just love how like the Ancient Mew card is basically the black bag Death of Superman of like Pokemon trading cards. Like everyone thought they were going to be worth like $1 million. They tried to hoard as many as they can, and they're basically worthless.
Yeah, you could sell it if you're lucky for like $20. If you're feeling real lucky, it's in a nice case. There's like a sentimental story behind it. Maybe 20, maybe 40 if you know how to like scam someone. But like, yeah, no, they're not that.
Well, the thing, like the Pokemon cards, as far as like the secondhand market, is such an interesting phenomenon, because it's different than, say, the collector mentality maybe around comics or whatnot, and that only so few cards basically carry any amount of weight. But at the same time, like if you bought a box of cards and then sold any and all of the key cards that if you were able to, you can make a bit of money back, and then some on that. But like we're about to talk about, I was looking up some what the aftermarket was looking like for the new Unbroken Bonds set, and the secret rare Shem and Charizard sell for like $250.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's pretty, that's
Yep.
why.
It is real pretty. But I think I would say like, and it's something that I've kind of been just sort of keeping an eye on and keeping track of. It's probably one of the highest ones that have in the recent sets that I've seen go that much. Christian, why don't you tell us a bit about maybe why?
So Charizard, there's 2 cards that are hot sellers right now. One is this Charizard and Reshiram GX. It's a tag team card. If you build your deck correctly, that card can one-hit literally any Pokemon. Anyone. It does like 300 damage.
But
so that one, and it takes a little bit, but it has a base attack. Like, it has 3 attacks. One of them does 200 damage, which that's just its normal attack, and that's just insane. So it's a powerhouse. The other one is the Dedenne GX, and that one's selling for big money because you can basically cycle through your deck really quickly, get the cards you need, and dish out a lot of damage that way.
Yeah, like the difference between those cards is like that Charizard Reshiram one is selling for like $250. The secret rare is selling for $250. The regular one I think is maybe 100. It's like 180 or something. And then the Dindian one is, I've seen it at like 80. And then like the next highest one is like $7.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, holy moly. But Christian, why don't you go into a bit about like so you mentioned in using that Charizard card that if you build your deck correctly, what does that really entail?
So it's pretty brand new. I took a look after you brought it up. I kind of took a look at some of the deck builds that were being based around it, and there's a lot of it which you need a lot of energy you need to put a lot of energy on this card, but it's nice because since it's a tag team GX, you can get it onto your bench really quickly. You don't need to evolve it up, which has been part of the metagame here in the TCG world. So you have to build your deck right because you need to get that card out and you need to stack energy quickly on it. So I saw a lot of people teaming it up with I want to say Flareon GX, and a couple other cards. So you need the right build, but you can do a lot of damage with this thing, and it's more of like a late game card than like you put it out and murder everybody right out the bat, but you can really mess up with people. It's a power deck through and through.
So basically, this card is like the Punisher of the TCG world.
Well, it's just so interesting because I would say like even the last set didn't really feel like it had many key cards that that fans would have wanted to really sort of go after and find. And this one just feels like it's like, oh, JK, here you go. Here's a thing. It's going to be really curious to see how this card gets used competitively. Like, is this one that like it feels like obviously like everyone would want it in their deck, but I don't know. It feels like too powerful of a card to potentially be used fairly frequently.
You'll see it. I think it'll get heavy use in the North American Championships, which are coming up next month, and also, well, in 2 months, in July, I think. And also the World Championships, which are in August. But I'm pretty sure that people are going to build up counters to it pretty quickly.
Right.
But it's the hot card right now, so.
So if you're going out and getting some Unbroken Bond packs, that's the one. That's the one you're trying to pull. We got a box.
We did get.
We're gonna break. We're gonna break it open. Probably, if not this week, we'll definitely probably do it next week. So make sure you tune in to that.
What are the chances we get one?
Oh man, if we don't, I'll just have a meltdown right there in front of the camera for sure.
Basically, build a little altar.
Yeah. Did you guys play Pokemon Go this weekend? Did you get any of your Detective Pikachu?
I cannot get a Detective Pikachu.
You can't?
I have tried so hard. I don't know why. I'm just having the worst luck. I want one.
Christian, did you get one?
Yeah, literally first picture I took.
Oh, geez. Well, say, Megan,
hey,
you try
trade with me.
Never.
Come on, help.
So I have had the same luck. I have had zero luck trying to get one.
Yeah.
Which is like I don't know if it's maybe I don't know. Maybe I have to update my app or something. But I saw everything else. Like the spawn rates, everything else were all all right, and I'm like trying to go around. I'm doing the thing, the selfie thing with with my kid and whatnot. I'm like, come on, please, let me just get it. And I got nothing.
Nothing. I've caught like 12 snubbles though. You can only have so many snubbles before you're just like, why? So there's at least that, I guess.
I did see a lot of people out and about.
Shiny IPOM.
What did you get?
The shiny IPOM. I'm chasing hard after that. There are so many shiny, so many IPOM here in Columbus.
Nah, man, I haven't got that. Ugh.
I think I saw one or two APOMs, but I don't think that. I saw freaking Bulbasaurs everywhere though.
I've just been snubbled.
That's a good thing.
We have Christian Hoffer, our resident Bulbasaur evangelist here.
Right. I did see a lot of people out and about trying to get it, and so much so that like there were some folks in my theater, like some parents or whatnot, talking about it and admitting saying that like they hadn't played Pokemon Go in a while, but they wanted to fire it back up to see if they can to get Detective Pikachu. So mission accomplished. Niantic, yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was a successful event, or is. It's still going on for a couple more days.
Yep.
I just want to know where my Detective Pikachu is. Where are you?
Just gonna have to try harder, Megan. I'm sorry.
I've been trying real hard.
All right, continuing down Pokemon news lane. We've got a new Pokemon game.
We do. Pokemon Rumble Rush is coming out probably in the next week or two worldwide. So I don't know if you guys ever played the Pokemon Rumble games.
Yes. Yes. There's like the Rumble Pack. Oh, it was great.
So basically, it's this game where you control these Pokemon toys, and it's basically just you tap buttons and you murder other toy Pokemon, you collect them and whatnot. Oh. So this is a mobile version of that game. It was actually announced way back in 2017, and no one heard about it for years. So we all kind of assumed it was dead, and suddenly this morning, boom, Pokemon Rumble Rush got released in Australia and New Zealand.
It's a weird place to launch games first.
Well, so I
I
thought,
guess it's a smaller section to like test,
Yep.
make sure that get any bugs out.
yeah, I just remember when the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp came out in Australia first, and I went and made an Australian iTunes account because I wanted that game. But I think with this, I've been watching some gameplay of streamers who've been playing it in Australia, and it's just like I'm likening this mobile game to like Pokemon meets Toy Story meets like Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh.
Like, there's a lot of people who are just because like
You both
run-
have used very violent terms to describe this game, and it's gotten me way more interested in it.
Well, it's-
in a way that I
yeah.
did not anticipate.
I was not expecting it either, but then you see these like Rattatas like running into each other, and whoever loses just turns into coins. Like they're just boom. It's pretty. I think it'll be cathartic to play on a stressful day. So I'm
All right.
I'm hoping it comes out soon. I need.
This is the first mobile game that we've had, the first Pokemon mobile game that we've had for a little while. I feel like, right?
Since Pokemon Quest, which actually came out last year around this time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Focus
Yeah, so it's been and then before that it was
Magikarp.
right, Magikarp Jump, which I still play.
Man, I never got into that as much. I kind of got into Pokemon Quest just like a little bit, but like Go for such a long time ate my life, and then I was like, I have to distance myself. It's like how I feel like I probably would be with like World of Warcraft. I was like, it's eating my life, and then I got back into it again, and it's just been like terrible. So we'll see how Rumble Rush draws me in.
So are we kind of like on the road now to Sword and Shield? 'Cause
Yeah,
I feel
we'll
like
probably.
we haven't
go ahead.
necessarily gotten like we got the trailer, we got the announcement, and then Detective Pikachu came out, and then like I kind of expected maybe something after like the first weekend, for the new game to be like, oh, the game's still coming, get excited, folks. And we kind of haven't gotten anything yet.
No.
It's Wednesday.
At this point, we might not get anything until E3.
That's true.
That's what I'm scared about. But I mean, E3's honestly not that far away. I'm just
No,
being greedy.
It's 3 weeks, right?
But that's the thing. It's like, but like, I get needing to like being able to or wanting to show something at E3. I also would rather them like potentially announce something else at E3 because like we already have like the big announcement, so I just don't want like another trailer one. I want like another cool game announcement. I don't even know what. Whatever. Bring Pokemon Snap.
Pokemon
back,
Snap.
right?
That's what I was
just
leaning in.
Make that announcement, and like that will just blow away. That's the thing, though. Like if they make a Pokemon Snap announcement, I think it will completely overshadow anything they do
Yes.
Sword and Shield.
I think
Like, I get people are excited for Christian shaking his head.
I'm going to
No.
admit right now, I'm fully invested in both games. And if they were like, oh, here's the new generation, here's 100+ Pokemon. Oh, so by the way, Pokemon Snap's coming out.
Okay, well then,
I'm
what
gonna
could they
lose.
show? What could they show you then, Christian, from Sword and Shield, outside of an armored Mew that or Mewtwo that would get you more excited for that than Pokemon Snap?
I mean, I think that they're going to reveal whatever this generation's big feature is, whether it's this rumored armored evolution or whatever. I mean, that's kind of what we got the last time that we looked at, when
We
they
kind of
came out
over
with
Z moves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are we
Whatever the
over Z
equivalent of
moves?
Z moves
a
are.
little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Do we think
So,
they'll
you know-
keep Z moves?
Yeah. I mean, they kept Mega Evolution. I don't see why they wouldn't keep it. You won't get it until
Yeah, but
after
Mega Evolutions are
you
cool.
beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
Z moves are cool too, in their
Yeah.
own special way.
Yeah, they're all right.
The animation.
I mean, I think the big interesting thing will be, like they keep saying it's it will be a bit of classic-ish gameplay, but I'm curious to see if they keep any of the new features that they introduced in Let's Go, for like the capture mechanics and things like that. The capture mechanics I imagine they will probably not keep, but
No.
they are some of my favorite parts of playing Let's Go.
I think that we will get Pokemon Go connectivity. There was actually a tease of that last week, I think, where in the most recent data mine they had a reference to like koala settings, which people think is the code name for Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay.
So that does hint at there will be some connectivity. So you can probably bring your Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Sword and Shield, just like you could with Let's Go.
I imagine to make that interesting, though, I would imagine you would need to be able to use them more than you can use them in Let's Go.
Yeah, Let's Go's kind of the testing ground, I think, for that. I would assume. I hope. I hope. All I know is I want Sword and Shield for me to be able to travel on my Snorlax. Much like in Let's Go. That's all I care about.
That was such a cool thing for them to add in Let's Go, that like I love the little things like like different speeds, right? Like if you were flying on a Charizard, you would go much faster than if you were just running with someone following you, or you would go a little bit slower, clinging to your Snorlax for dear life.
Yeah, terrified. I just think it was interesting, especially like how, like, I don't know, I was a fan of Pokemon for like 20 plus years of my life, and then I never realized Venusaur was off like a frog until I saw that animation, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I think that's interesting. So to see like how further that universe could be expanded with like the gameplay mechanics and just like the little things that they could do with the animation of Sword and Shield will be super interesting. Plus, if I can take it everywhere on the Switch, I would be very excited. That's all I need. Get distracted.
All right, you guys ready to talk about Pokemon Go? Not
Yeah,
Pokemon
let's
Go.
do it.
Detective Pikachu, maybe?
I mean,
we already talked about Pokemon Go.
I mean, I'll talk about both for a long time.
We're going to talk about Detective Pikachu. When we come back, a spoiler-filled discussion of Detective Pikachu. All right. I loved it. I thought it was great. My favorite parts of it, though, like I thought, like trying to like stare at every scene super intensely for the split seconds that we got to try and see things would kind of be like my favorite part of that movie. Don't get me wrong, like I loved seeing although maybe you guys can help me here. I couldn't tell if we saw Gravelers or Golems in the movie.
It was Graveler.
Graveler, right? I thought it looked way more bumpy. I wasn't sure if that was just like what they were going to make that world's Golem look like. But I mean, I'm a huge Geodude, Graveler, and Golem fan, so I probably appreciated that split second of Graveler's rolling way more than maybe anything else.
Yeah, it was
as far as like the little Easter eggy Pokemon shot stuff, because I love them.
The fact that we saw like a breviary at one point, like delivering food, like a DoorDash or something, like an Uber Eats, I was like, yes, I would definitely pay more for that.
So you're gonna learn a little bit about me right now. I really hate birds, like, a lot. I hate birds, and so there's that scene where they're just sort of coming in and flying over things, and you just see a bunch of Pidgeots just like sitting on wires and buildings. Those are big birds.
Yeah.
If I saw those, I would no joke be freaking the F out, because
just a ton of birds of prey just casually hanging out.
Right? Like this is like
waiting.
They're huge.
They are units.
Sorry. I had to get that out of the way. But
you know what my part was? How terrifying they turned Ditto. I mean, Ditto, like something straight out of like Lovecraftian horror. This little pink blob that just turns into an ass-kicking machine. It was just fantastic.
Oh god, when they showed like the actual like human faces with those soulless black eyes, I was like, oh my gosh, this is creepy.
I know that is absolutely one of my favorites.
I'll tell you what, when they showed Ditto in that girl form that had like the pink stuff on her arms,
Miss Norman,
I kept trying to think, like, what is going on there? And it wasn't until like you saw her as Ditto where I was just like, oh, that's what totally. I was like, that's great. That was
you know awesome. What was really creepy about her as like a human? She was texting.
Yeah,
like, she was texting. You know, what's his face? Bill Nighy's character. You know that's crazy as heck.
Like
you
she
know,
has autonomous thought.
Texting Ditto who can transform into anything. That is like a monster. Just an absolutely horrifying like prospect.
Like the question I had is in like one point lets out the Greninja, and like also I want to know is like, did that Ditto copy that form, or is that an original form? Like, was Ditto able to be like, that's what I want to look like? Because we never saw whoever that lady was, like, that Ditto mimicked. And it was confirmed that that was a Ditto that was experimented upon. So, like, I want to know, what did you do to that Ditto? Or maybe, actually, I don't want to know what you did to that Ditto. But yeah, that reveal terrified me. I also love the little segment we got of like when they were coming into Rhyme City when Tim was, and we got like that whole, I just thought it was a clever way to do the background of Pokemon. It was like explaining like how Rhyme City was made, but also how Pokemon fit into like ancient history. Because I feel like for a lot of casual Pokemon fans who maybe tapped out at like Generation 3 or something, they don't have an understanding of like how deep and historical the lore of Pokemon gets with the universe, with like Arceus and Deoxys and all these other Pokemon who have like control antimatter and stuff. Like, I thought it was very clever that it at least seeded those illusions with, you know, like Pikachu and the ancient Egyptian like artifacts, and like Meowth was in one of them, and I was like, hey, I see him, he is my son. So I thought that was a really clever way to introduce that and the other regions, because somewhere out there.
I like that also with that scene too, when he's coming into Rhyme City, just felt like that scene that scene from Zootopia, where Janie's coming into Zootopia, and you just sort of see all the different landscapes and how it all just sort of works in together. Did we know Bill Nighy was in the movie?
Yeah, we knew.
Oh, I must have missed that completely, because when we saw him, I was like, oh, hey, it's Bill Nighy. I immediately got more excited about it.
Yeah, we never really saw him in the trailers.
Listening to him like say Pokemon's names was I could just give me that all day long. Him saying Mewtwo and like Ancient Mew, like I was just dying. I was legitimately cracking up in the theater when he was like, Mewtwo, an abomination. I was dying.
My favorite thing now is like reading like interviews with him post the movies like release. He is like such a Pokemon fan now. He was like, I didn't really know this was going in, but like my like children, grandchildren, like all these people knew what it is. And now he is like in love with Mew. Mew is his favorite. Bill Nighy is the world's biggest Mew stan. Confirmed. Like he is like
he always refers to it as Ancient Mew in the interviews. It's great.
Yeah, that is the one thing I wanted. More Mew in the movie. I finally watched it yesterday. There was a balloon of Mew.
Yeah, there's a balloon of Mew.
Yeah.
It was like a split second. There's also a Lugia balloon, which I was like, he's here. Where's my Ho-Oh balloon? But like, I can accept.
Well, so one of the things that I thought was really, really interesting was the introduction of Mewtwo and its connection to really kind of, everything else, specifically the Pokemon movie, right?
Yeah, it tied way back to the anime with that.
Yeah.
Poor Mewtwo, though. First, he gets caught by Giovanni and Team Rocket. Gets made. Mew gets him out. He has this whole moment with Ash Ketchum. He's like, you know what? I'm out. I'm leaving Kanto. Yeah. I'm going. He comes to Rhyme City, gets caught again. Like, how does he not just hate humanity? Like, God bless Mewtwo. Right? You're having some trouble.
You know what the other curious thing was? When they mentioned that Mewtwo had come from the Kanto region 20 years ago, you know what that means? Ash Ketchum's like 30 years old in Detective Pikachu.
Yes, that's what I've been telling everyone about. Like, I've been working on this whole, like much like Detective Pikachu in my home, there's like a whole board of like strings. It means Ash Ketchum's like 33.
That means Brock's in like
we're gonna get the sequel to this will be like a broken Ash Ketchum, like borderline alcoholic, like called back.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this last week on how, like, for me, I thought the best like next Pokemon movie or whatnot would focus on a trainer that we didn't know that came into contact with some of the other characters that we know. And I think a potential, not necessarily Batman Beyond type relationship with like an older Bruce Wayne and whatnot, but like it being like meeting an older Ash Ketchum and stuff, I think to me is way more interesting and cooler to go down a path than to like be introduced to a young Ash Ketchum and go from there. I would love to see them create a live action hero that new fans can attach to in the way that older fans attach themselves to Ash.
Right.
Like he meets Professor Gary instead of Professor Oak.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, like I don't think there's a need for us to go through that origin story again, especially with the pervasiveness of Pokemon. Like even if it's not him, or if it is, like having like Ash Ketchum be your Mr. Miyagi, like I would love to see that. Also with Tim, I just think Justice Smith did such a great job of like leading this film opposite of Ryan Reynolds' Pokemon Pikachu, because like he really had to carry a lot of that like human like attachability and connectivity to the audience.
The saddest part for me is that we're not going to get Ryan Reynolds Pikachu again.
Well, I'm sure they'll find a way. I mean, in the Pokemon games and anime, they find weird ways to just combine them. I think that would be a weird sell again, but yeah, no, that I was amazed at how well that worked for me. Just sassy, coffee-driven, mouthy Pikachu.
So, what do we think about the reveal at the end? I mean, obviously, we all saw it a million miles away once you started watching the movie, but Christian's rolling his eyes already.
I was okay with it. I think it would have been a little bit better had Bill Nighy, you two, not just gone and done that to everybody else to really like beat it in. Like that was kind of like the most frustrating part about it. But I did love that even my 4-year-old kind of figured it out towards the end. When we saw the movie for the second time on Saturday, at the very end when Ryan Reynolds shows up as a human, my son just goes, "I told you so," really loud, and the entire theater lost it.
Oh my gosh!
But you know, it was fine. It was kind of dumb, but so are most plots to Pokemon things. So,
so no Nurse Joy, no Officer Jenny,
no.
None of that. No. Not even a Poke Center.
Yeah, nothing.
No.
We're disappointed by that?
Need.
And in some ways, I'm surprised by it, but I felt like this was such an insular thing. I couldn't think of where those would have fit in, aside from like maybe a sign or like was walking past it really quickly.
Right. I definitely, given like the police element of it all.
Yeah, that's the
really
one thing.
like the Jenny part of it is the one I probably expected the most.
Just like a placard or something.
Yeah, or like even like a photo or something. It didn't even have to be a person.
Yeah,
but like an Easter egg
just a blue-haired woman walking by him.
Yeah, like just anything would have worked. I think I was though surprised. There was the big police presence, but with the Poke Center, like Pikachu definitely needed one at the end. Like I kept looking so intensely because when Pokemon get injured, they just knock out or like they get scratched up, like in the anime films. Like if at one point in the scene they show like Pikachu's like bleeding pretty profusely from that rock,
like stained fur and everything.
And I was like, Pikachu, that's like, are you okay, child? So I thought that was interesting. Some of the risks and like branching out that the Pokemon Company was kind of willing to vet because I mean this is that is their bread and butter, the Pokemon Company and Pokemon. So the risk involved with doing some of these more risky things like having Pikachu bleed or having Ryan Reynolds mouth off. Like I'm glad that those did pay off. Like they all felt very natural.
Yep.
So I was very excited. For them, at least for them to know, like, okay, we can do this. Now we can do even more in the next film. So
curious to see what a next film looks like.
Yeah.
And for those listening, we're going to have a bonus episode in the feed coming up where we're going to be doing an interview with the writers of the movie. But the end of this movie is kind of like it feels like that door is closed. Like I don't necessarily know if they would go down the path of like following Justice Smith's character, and his new relationship with his dad and Ryan Reynolds. Like I don't know if that's necessarily the right play, but I could be totally wrong, but that to me, like, I just don't know where they go from here.
The second movie opens where they like walk in the apartment and Mewtwo's like sitting in a chair. It's like, I have a mission for you, and then just merges Ryan Reynolds into Pikachu again.
I mean, I would not be half surprised that like Mewtwo became the Nick Fury of this Pokemon universe. No, but to be kind of serious, it did feel like it very much wrapped up, and that was the thing I think I'm most concerned about.
Right.
Is it tied up all of the ends that you had and then ends that you didn't even know were there. It just kind of
Right.
really succinctly packaged it. But the universe it built lends so many, it brought up other regions, it brought up the other cultures that surround Pokemon. You could go in the past, you could go in the future. So I
But,
think
like, really,
it's
like,
wide open.
The only thing that really connects one to potentially the other is Mewtwo, right?
I mean, I'm down to follow my Lord and Savior Mewtwo.
You're wrong. I'm more than happy to see more Mewtwo, but I think he's really one of the only things that, unless they, God, why am I blanking on his character's name? The dude in the police department.
Oh, Yoshida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe him could be a bridge character, but like they didn't, or the reporter, but like
Oh, Lucy, yeah.
Lucy,
Yeah,
but like
Lucy.
I don't know.
I
What do you
think-
think, Christian?
I think they got to leave from the city.
I think they could go. I mean, they did such a great job of establishing the world. I don't necessarily think you need to connect to this movie in any other in really any way other than
But do
maybe
they call it something else? I mean, obviously it's not going to be Pokemon Detective Pikachu 2.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah, they need
call
a
it
new name.
Pokemon. I don't know, Inspector Bulbasaur or something like that. I don't know.
District Attorney Eevee is the meme that I love
Yeah,
the
I like
most.
that one.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing I care about is will this sequel have Vaporeon? That's the banner I'm waving.
It was interesting. As a question that I want to ask the writers is why go with Flareon where clearly Flareon to me is the least favorite of the Eevee evolutions.
He's fuzzy and cute. That's why.
Yeah, I have a feeling Vaporeon's way too hard to get that animation done because she's got a tail.
And she's probably got the
You
texture of
turn him
Lickitung.
into this like slimy fish mermaid thing, and people are
Yeah,
just gonna get grossed out.
Jolteon doable but Sparky. We already got
Yeah.
Pikachu.
That's true.
Give me Umbreon. That would have been great.
That would have been cool.
So, but I'll be interested to see where it goes next.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tim and Harry will be around, but just give me Mewtwo, a Pikachu, and a Vaporeon. That's all I ask.
And the
Crazy thing,
Bulbasaur.
now that we've talked about like old Ash, now I'm thinking like, does that mean like he's got an old Pikachu?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
He has
Oh,
wrinkles.
absolutely.
Oh,
With
that's
like
terrifying.
graying hair, like graying fur, and like maybe his like red cheeks aren't quite as red as they
They're
used
like
to be.
pink.
Because do we know like do Pokemon have lifespans?
Yes.
Yes.
They do. Oh, they're very matter of fact from Christian. Yes, Pokemon
You,
die.
you had me write that article. Like,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
just,
They do have
random
lifespans.
Yes,
attack me
Pokemon
with
do
blue
die.
Pokemon die. Write an article about that.
Yeah. No, they die unless they're the Arceus,
so
basically.
sad. Well,
We
great.
can
I'm glad
solve
we're ending the episode on that down note.
Pokemon die.
All right, real quick, Christian, let's get into our Poke Fact of the Week.
Okay. So everyone knows you. I don't know if you guys have ever tried this. Like, you pick a random Pokemon in Pokemon Red and Blue, and you just try to run through the entire game with just that one Pokemon. Have you guys ever tried something like that?
Absolutely not.
No, that sounds
Okay, well-
impossible.
Some of us have had that sort of time. But my question is, can you beat Pokemon Red and Blue using only a Caterpie in battle?
Just a Caterpie, like not even like an
Yep, just a
evolved, not even a
Caterpie in
Butterfree.
battle. You can have nope, just a Caterpie. It needs to be just a Caterpie.
No,
like
because
level
how does a
100.
Caterpie beat Dragonite
know what?
at the very end of things?
I'm going yes because just like in Detective Pikachu, it said Pikachu cannot beat Mewtwo in battle, but did. I'm saying yes.
I mean, it feels like a loaded question, so I'm going to go yes, but the physics of it in my mind make no sense.
I'm doubting my psychology.
Well, now the answer actually is no.
Okay.
It's not-
You got us.
it's because it only can use Tackle and Struggle, which are both normal type moves. Those are its only offensive abilities, and neither of those work against Ghost type Pokemon. So as soon as you get to Lavender Town and have to fight that Chandler that's kind of like blocking the door, you're screwed.
Screwed.
Ah.
Can't use Caterpie. Sorry, folks.
Also Magikarp. That also applies to Magikarp. Can't use a Magikarp. But you
Dang.
Because
can't.
Magikarp only has what? No, Magikarp can have
It
tackle.
uses Tackle, Splash, and Struggle.
Right.
And those can't affect Ghost Pokemon. But Weedle, with its Poison Sting, hypothetically, with enough potions, you could run through the entire game using only a Weedle.
But is it possible to get that amount of money in the game?
Yeah, with enough grinding, anything's possible, Jim.
I mean, you might be 80 years old by the time you do it, but like,
Good Lord. Okay, so
Yeah,
so that basically means Caterpie and Magikarp are the most worthless Pokemon in Red and Blue.
Yes, that is correct.
oof. I
But
mean, we knew about
especially-
Magikarp, but why
And
we
I
got
remember when I first came upon a Caterpie, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool!" And then I quickly moved on.
quickly?
10-year-old Jim was like, I'm just like Ash Ketchum, guys.
Aww.
All right. With that being said, folks, if you like this podcast, tell your friends, tell your parents, siblings, really anyone, random guy you meet at the coffee maker at work. Tell them about the show because we rely on your word of mouth. And so if you like it, leave us a review on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. Maybe we'll read it on air. And if we do, we'll send you a sweet Comicbook.com t-shirt. And
Did you see we got our first review?
Huh?
We got our first review.
Do you have it up? Do you want to read it?
I do not have it up. We'll save that for next week.
All right,
Yes.
save it for next
We're
week.
gonna have a whole thing.
Gives you time for more folks to get their reviews in. But no, seriously, we've got a great response to the first 2 episodes. With this, this episode, I imagine will do very well. We got the writers coming up, which is going to be another fun one. So every Thursday, check us out. A Wild Podcast has appeared. There'll be a story on the site. Christian will tweet about it relentlessly. And yeah, like I said, if there's more stuff that you want to see us tackle on the show, you can find me on Twitter at Jim Viscardi.
I'm on Twitter at Megan Peters CB.
And I am C. Hoffer, C. Bus on Twitter.
So excellent. With that, folks, we will talk to you again next week with more Pokemon stuff. And we can't wait. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.